Before anime was a staple of mainstream pop culture in the United States, it was a niche interest, barely understood, rarely accessible, and often butchered in translation. But that all began to change with one show, Dragon Ball Z, specifically its first widely broadcast English version, known today as the Ocean Dub, set the stage for anime's explosion in the West, even if it was far from perfect. In a modern era where English dubs are released simultaneously with their Japanese counterparts, it's easy to forget how rocky anime localization once was. Bringing a Japanese series to an American audience in the early 1990s was uncharted territory, and the now legendary Dragon Ball Z had to blaze that trail the hard way. A dub that rewrote the rules and the dialogue. Originally adapted in English by Harmony Gold in a limited release, Dragon Ball didn't catch fire in the US until 1994, when a young company called Funimation took on the challenge of localizing Dragon Ball Z, lacking experience and mindful of the conservative American television landscape. Funimation worked with Canada's Ocean Studios to create what would become one of the most controversial anime localizations of all time. The Ocean Dub, covering the Scion and Namek sagas, is infamous among longtime fans for its sweeping alterations. Character names were simplified, e.g., Tenshinhan became Tien, attack names were changed, Kienzan became Destructo Disc, and certain story elements were softened or rewritten to fit a more kid-friendly narrative. Entire plot points were glossed over, violent scenes were cut, and the now iconic Rock the Dragon theme gave the show an American edge that was worlds away from its Japanese roots. Yet despite, or perhaps because of, these changes, Dragon Ball Z caught on like wildfire. A flawed dub that captured a generation. For many American fans, the Ocean Dub was their first exposure to anime, and its impact cannot be overstated. Airing on syndicated TV and eventually Cartoon Network's Toonami, Dragon Ball Z quickly became a household name. The voice cast, though inconsistent in quality, became familiar. The over-the-top delivery, exaggerated music cues, and even the censorship shaped the perception of what anime could be. The dub's success gave Funimation the leverage it needed to continue the series with its own in-house voice actors, many of whom, like Sean Schemmel, Goku, and Christopher Sabat, Vegeta, are still synonymous with the franchise today. Without the early momentum provided by the Ocean Dub, that legacy might never have materialized, paving the way for a global phenomenon. To be fair, Dragon Ball Z wasn't the first anime to reach Western audiences. Shows like Speed Racer, Astro Boy, Transformers, and Studio Ghibli films had laid some groundwork. But none had the seismic, generational impact of DBZ. It helped transform anime from a cult curiosity into a cultural mainstay, especially among young viewers in the late 90s and early 2000s. Even now, Dragon Ball remains one of the highest-grossing anime franchises globally, second only to Pokémon in terms of longevity and worldwide brand recognition. That kind of legacy doesn't form overnight. It's the product of decades of work, and arguably it started with a dub that got more things wrong than right. Why we should appreciate the Ocean Dub. In retrospect, many of the Ocean Dub's odd choices can be chalked up to the realities of the era. American networks were hesitant to broadcast foreign animation with intense violence or mature themes. The dub's edits weren't just decisions made by localization teams, they were survival tactics in a market where even American animated shows struggled to stay on the air. Yes, it may have distorted the source material, but it also introduced millions of viewers to anime, and that matters. Without the Ocean Dub, Funimation might not have survived. Toonami might not have become an anime launchpad, and today's booming anime industry in the West might look very different. In the end, the Ocean Dub isn't just a relic of 1990s localization, it's a foundational moment in anime history. It helped Dragon Ball Z earn its place in global pop culture, and whether you grew up with Destructo Disc or Kienzan, the fact remains, we owe a lot to the dub that started it all.